Good day, viewers. We thank God for another day. We continue with our series. We go to section 24 of Surah Al-Baqarah, beginning with 189. This is a series of verses that may look controversial and therefore might need to be expounded on at least a little bit. What does that verse say? 187. Yes, alunuka anil ahillati. They asked thee, that's God talking to the prophet of Islam through the angel Gabriel or Jibril. They asked thee concerning the new moons. Yes, alunaka anil ahillatin. Kul hiya muwakitu linnas wal hajji. Say they are but signs to mark feast periods of time in men or in the affairs of men. So you see, science comes in here again. The word science comes in here again. Science in the verses, and here they mention the science street. They are but signs, signs, to mark fixed periods of time in the affairs of men and for pilgrimage. Yes, Muslims do not do the pilgrimage according to the calendar year, the Western calendar year. No. Pardon me if it's not Western, but I think it's Western. They don't do it according to the calendar year. They could do it according to the lunar year. So here it is telling us the Hajj is not performed, should not be performed according to calendar year, but by the moon. وَلَيْسَ بِرَّ بأن تأتوا البيوت من ظهورها ولكن البر من اتقى. It is no virtue if you enter your houses from the back. It is virtue if you fear God. The first part might not be better. I think in those days, people used to enter their houses from the back door. Maybe somebody can explain that better. It is better to enter your houses. It is no virtue to enter your houses from the back. It is virtue if you fear God. Fearing God is more than thinking that entering your houses from the back door is better, or is a good thing. Just fear God. That's what this verse means. وَإِتُّوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَفْلِحُونَ. It is virtue if you fear. No. It is no virtue if you enter your houses from the back. It is virtue, yes. It is virtue if you fear God. Full stop. Then enter houses through the proper doors. That's the entrance, through the proper entrance. And fear God. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. That you may prosper. So tuflihuna means prosper. So they call somebody mufliha, maybe a woman mufliha. It means prosper. So when you hear a woman being called mufliha or muflihatun, it means prosper. She's prosperous, or there is prosperity around her. Sorry. So mufliha. وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُوكُمْ. Fight in the cause of God those who fight you. Don't fight anybody, those who fight you. You are sitting, you're somewhere, let me use Ghanaian language. You are sitting, you're somewhere, and somebody comes with trouble. Don't let them. Fight them. Somebody comes to fight you. The Prophet of Islam didn't like fighting. He fled to Medina. He went to Medina to avoid fighting. The enemies, his own people, pursued him towards Medina, and God said, "Fight." So you see, people label him as somebody who likes fighting. He fled fighting. He ran away from fighting, and God asked him to fight. He thought it wise to meet them on the way, because if they were to enter proper Medina proper, you could imagine they would slay women and children. So he said, no, meet them halfway or somewhere before they get to Medina proper and fight them there. So, وَقَاتِلِي فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُوكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا. وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا means, but do not transgress limits. What does that mean? You are fighting they come to fight you, and you come out, and they see that you are mightier than them, and they stop fighting and say, hands up. Where our hands are up, we won't fight. And you still slay them, continue killing. No. If you are come and they say, oh, we are stronger than us, we have given up, we won't fight, stop fighting. These are golden rules. Hmm? In the olden days, without this verse, people would still slaughter them. You say, oh, what about if I hadn't come out? If I were not stronger than you, you would have killed me. So I will also kill you. No. God says, "Wala taqtadu," where is it? Let me Wala taqtadu. Wala taqtadu. Inna Allah la yuhibbu al-mu'tadin. Because God do not like transgressors. Do not transgress, because God does not like those who transgress. I think that's verse 190. Now, let's go to 191. وَاقْتَلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتَمُوهُمْ. Let me do that first. And slay them wherever you catch them. He's made the exception already. No transgression. But listen, if iktaluhu hetu taf hetu takif tumuhum, where you catch them, wa ihrajihum min hetu ahrajukum, and turn them out from where they have turned you out. So this is retaliation. They turn the Muslims out of their homes, and they say they should stay outside. No. Fight them and also turn them out. So it's retaliation. Remember the Old Testament. It still works. Life for life. Ear for ear. Uzn uzn. Enin. Eye for eye. Sin sin. Tooth for tooth. And so on. So if they drive you out, fight them and also drive them out. Where do they want them to stay? If you drive me from my house, where do you want me to stay? I will fight you and drive you out. Simple. If the Bible says, if somebody slaps you, turn over the other cheek for the other fellow to fight you. I want to ask viewers, is it literal or is it figurative? Because if somebody gives you a dirty slap, sign, pardon me, it sounds in your ear and it will send you down. How do you turn the other ear to him or to them to slap again? You can't. So in this case, I think it is not literal, it's figurative. So there is no difference here between what the Bible says and what this verse is saying. And turn them out where they have turned you out. For persecution is worse than slaughter. Where is this? What? Well, fitnatun, ashadun, من الكتلة والفتنة أشد من الفتلة. Persecution is worse than slaughter. They drive you from your home and you stay outside. Hmm? Maybe you'll be bitten by snakes or you'll be eaten by wild animals. Is it not death? So that's persecution. And this surah is telling us persecution is worse than death. If you had to fight and death and die, sorry, if you had to fight and die, it would have been better than death. So I said I have to expand on these things. أشهد من الكتلة ولا ولا تقاتلوهم عند المسجد عند المسجد الحرام حتى يقاتلوكم فيه. Wonderful verse. Hmm? But fight them not at the sacred mosque. Fight them not at the sacred mosque until they first fight you there. So these are also golden rules. Hmm? Because, like I've said it in my first video, even if a Christian or Jew or anybody runs to the mosque, do not fight him, do not kill them. Let them have fear God. They ran there because that's the house of God. So fear God and do not attack them inside the mosque. Once they run inside, please do not fight them. It's not there. But if you run to the mosque and an enemy meets you there and fights you, well, they've crossed the red line. The Americans will say, pardon me, they've crossed the red line. So finish them if you can finish them. That's a golden rule. Now, let's go to the next part of the verse. يقاتلوهم فيه فإن قاتلوكم فاقتلوهم كذلك جزاء كافرين. Uh, let me start from far behind so I can know where I'm going. For persecution is worse than slaughter, but fight them not at the sacred mosque, unless they fight you there. But if they fight you, slay them. Such is the reward of those who reject faith. ذلك جزاء الكافرين. Such is the reward of those who reject faith. Let's go to the next verse. فإن انتهوا فإن الله غفور رحيم. But if they cease, Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. In other words, if they cease, you also cease. If your enemy says ceasefire, if they cease fire, you also cease fire. That is what this verse says. Unfortunately, the enemies may not know that you are only fearing God. They may attack you again, but while ceasing fire, you have to be cautious. While you cease fire, you have to watch their moves tactically. Uh, let's go to the next verse 183. وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا يَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ ولا يكون ولا يكون ولا يكون الدين لله ولا يكون الدين لله, and fight them on until there is no more persecution. قاتلوهم حتى لا يكونوا فتنة. Fitnatin here is persecution. It can also mean trial, but here in this context is persecution. ويكونوا دين الله, and the religion becomes God's, and the religion becomes God's religion. But if they cease, let there be no hostility except to those who practice oppression. This is a repetition, but let me read it still. فَإِنْ إِنْتَهُوا فَلَا عُدْوَانَ إِلَّا عَلَى الظَّالِمِينَ. فَإِنْ إِنْتَهُوا فَلَا عُدْوَانَ إِلَّا عَلَى الظَّالِمِينَ. But if they cease, Let there be no hostility except to those who practice oppression. So, golden rules. I'm explaining this because people go about saying Muhammad is a warmonger, fighting, say all kind of nasty things about him. The Quran here, pardon me for using the left to touch it. The Quran here explains everything, and it was sent down to Muhammad. So how does Muhammad just fight, just be a killer without cause? If he kills everybody, who is going to to be converted to Islam? Hmm? Oh, you're a Christian, you keep on killing people. Whom are you trying to convert to Christianity? He won't. So, this is to explain to viewers that the Quran is a golden book, golden rules. It's not a constitution, it's far ahead of constitutions. Hmm. Now, uh, let's go to the next verse 194. وَشُهُرُ الْحَرَامِ بِالشُّهْرِ وَالْحَرَامِ وَالْحُرُمَاتِ قِصَاصٌ. The prohibited month for the the prohibited month for the prohibited month. Shahrul Haram bil Shahrul Haram. In other words, it's a sacred month. The month of uh, prohibited month for prohibited month, and so for all things prohibited. Kisasun prohibited. Faman atadu alaykum fa itadu alayhi bimithli ma itadu alaykum. Oh, another golden rule. Hmm? And so for the things prohibited. So anything that is prohibited, if one side abides by it, the other side must also abide by it equally. Hmm? And so forth. There is the law. There is the law of equality. If then anyone transgresses the prohibition against you, transgress you likewise against him. I think I've explained it already. Hmm? Then it follows. Wa e- wa alayhim mithlu ma iktada alaykum. Wa itaku Allah wa alamu anna Allah ma'a mutakina. Wa alamu anna Allah ma'a mutakina. But fear God and know that God is with those who restrain themselves. So mutakina here I've always been explaining is restrain. It's righteous. If we restrain, we are righteous. So it also means righteous. Only the righteous will restrain themselves. Fine. Let's go to 195. What does it say? وأن وأنفقوا في سبيل الله ولا ولا تلقوا ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلا أتلكم أو إلى تهتلكم. Let me take it again. وأنفقوا في سبيل الله ولا تلقوا بأيديهم إلى تهلكة إلى تهلكة إلى تهلكة. Sorry, I want to read it well. So, and spend of your substance in the cause of God. Itaku fi sabilillah. And make not your hands contribute to your distraction. Distraction here is ila ta ila tahalukatu. Ila tahalukatu, to distraction. Contribute to distraction. Ila tahalukatu. So fi sabilillah, anfuku fi sabilillah. Spend in the way of God. You see, we go to our mosque, you see the people say, Fi sabilillah, in the way of God, in the Lord. Spend! It's in the Quran, that's why they are saying it. Hmm? But sometimes they overdo it. I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. Sometimes we are praying, we haven't finished praying, somebody comes, Fi sabilillah. While we are praying, Fi sabilillah, they don't wait for you to finish praying. Because the Quran says spend in the way of God. Everybody says Fi sabilillah, Fi sabilillah. But Fi sabilillah goes far beyond that. You see? For instance, maybe what I'm doing now is feasibility in the name of God, just to let people understand what God says. So that's also feasibility, not only money. Huh? Uh, Pardon me for laughing. Uh, ولا ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى تهلكة. Distraction. I think we've done it. Let's go to the next verse. 196. Oh, we haven't finished 195. Uh-huh. وأحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين وأحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين. Uh, but do good. I've said it always here. Christians do a lot of good. Mm. This Quran is to explain to people, everybody, Christians and Muslims alike, and those who are not, so that there is not much difference between Christianity and Islam when it comes to certain aspects of consideration. So, Ihsinu inna Allah yuhibbu muhsinin. But do good, for God loveth those who do good. Let's go to 196. Wa atimu al-hajj, wa atimu al-hajja wal umratan lillahi. And complete, atimu here, complete, and complete the hajj and umrah in the service of God. Wa atimu al-hajja wal umratan, we call it umrah lillahi, for the service of God. فإن فإن أسرتم فما استيسر فما استيسر من الهدي. Mm. But if ye are prevented, into brackets, from completing it, send an offering for sacrifice. Mm. Let me find it there. فما استيسر من 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 الهدي. Send uh, send an offering for sacrifice. ولا تغلف ولا تهلكوا ولا تهلكوا رؤوسكم حتى يبلغ الهدي محلة. um, the service of God, but such as you may find, and do not send an offering for sacrifice, such as you may find, and do not shave your heads until the offering reaches the place of sacrifice. Mm. Let me take the last part. Uh-huh. فما استيسر من الهدي ولا تغلفوا رأسكم حتى يبلغ al-hadi mahillahu until it gets to its place of sacrifice. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيدًا أَوْ بِهِ أَذَى مِنْ رَأْسِهِ فَفِدْيَةٌ مِنْ صِيَامٍ أَوْ صَدَقَةٍ أَوْ نُسُكٍ. Let's take that first. Such as the fine and do not shave your hair or your heads until the offering reaches its place of sacrifice. And if any of you is ill, maridan, if any of you is ill, maridan, or has an ailment in his scalp, as a ailment is as a, let me see it again, as a necessitating shaving, into brackets, necessitating shaving, he should, in compensation, either fast or feed the poor or offer sacrifice. And when ye are peaceful, let me stop there and go to the next Arabic. فصيام أو سرقة أو نسوك or sacrifice. أو نسوك فإن أمنتم فمن تمتع بالأمرة إلى الحجة فما استيسر من الهدى فمن لم يجد فصيام 3 أيام في الحج وسبعة إذا رجعكم. Sorry, I haven't taken it very well, but let me go to the English lesson. Let me see where I can begin. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مريضا sick أو أذى من رأسهم or has ailment in the scan, in the calf, فَفِدْيَةٌ مِنْ صِيَامٍ, he will fast, أو صدقة or sacrifice, أو نسك. I move from Arabic to English and then I get lost. Pardon me. Okay. بالأرشا إلى فمن تمتع بالأرشا إلى حج فاستي فاستيسر من الهدى فمن لم يجد فصيام 3 أيام في الحج وسبعة إذا رجعوا. Okay. So let me. If or has an ailment in his cap, necessitating shaving, he should, in compensation, either fast or feed the poor, either fast or feed the poor, or offer sacrifice. And when ye are in peaceful conditions, amintum, if anyone wishes to continue the Umrah onto the Hajj, he must make an offering such as he can afford. But if he cannot afford it, he should fast 3 days during the Hajj and 7 days on his return. Talatatun fil Hajj wa sab'atun was subatin, and 7 days on his return, subatin 10 days, 7 days, making 10 days in all. Mm. That is Ashar Ayaman Kamilan. This is for those whose household is not in the precincts of the sacred mosque, and fear God and know that God is strict in punishment. In other words, if you don't follow these conditions and you think that you are hiding from God, you are not. Uh, God is very strict in punishment. You won't see him. You will never see him. Nobody can see God. It's there in the Quran. Mm. Uh, so let me go to the Arabic again. حتى يبلغ الحد مهلة فمن كان منكم مريضا أو أذى من أثر ففدية من صيام أو صدقة أو نسك فإذا أمنتم. When you are in peaceful situation, فإذا أمنتم فمن تمتع بال بالعمرة إلى Hajj, and if you wish to continue with the Umrah to Hajj, فما استيسر من الهدي we've read it in English already. فمن لم يجد فإسا ف أسي فصيام ثلاثة. If you cannot fast 3 days while going, and when coming you fast 7 days to complete as in all, kamilan in all to complete. And God is strict in punishment. So time is against us. So I believe this this series of verses, which I believe could be controversial, have been a little bit explained or expounded to viewers. Because we walk about and say, people say, oh, Muhammad is a fighter, he's a warmonger, he's this. No, they are deceiving you. Those who preach those things are only deceiving you. Their grandparents fought Islam about 1,500 years ago. They couldn't succeed. People, intellectuals, have come to study the Quran and have said that no, there are only ways of destroying the Quran. Even while I was young, that's in the 60s and 70s, people wanted to call Islam Mohammedanism. Mohammedanism, as if it's for Muhammad. But it didn't work. The Quran corrects people. It didn't work because it's not Mohammedanism. It's not Muhammad's religion. It's a religion for all. Muhammad cannot write a Quran. It was descended by the angel for all mankind, lil alameen, and not Mohammedanism. So, viewers, this is enough for today. Next time, I think we will go to the tabloids to see the signs that time is against us. So, and pardon me for my mistakes if there are any. I can't detect my own mistakes. It is you and noble viewers who can. My knees are down. I'm struggling. Sometimes I struggle with the reading, even in the English section of it. So, in the may God bless you. Bye bye.